Hello, 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 and welcome to a very special edition of the Couch Warriors. It's December, it feels weird to be recording in December, but here we are. Been a bit of chat on social media the last few days between John and myself about our cult heroes. So we had a go at making our teams. We posted them, and then there was a few comments that we thought we had to sort of clear the air over a few things. So we're here to we'll talk about a few other things happening in the world of the Warriors and the NRL throughout the process of it. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. I'm one of your hosts, Richard, the bandwagon conductor Laddie, and I'm here as always with my co-host and good mate John Lazaron. John, how are you going, bro?
Good, mate. I mean, well, you took the words out of my mouth, mate. It's hard to think that we'll be, recording in December, but mate, I miss footy. I need some footy. I need this. What we're doing right now, I need this because honestly, I feel like, it's just been too long. Even though the season only finished with the Kiwis not about a month ago, it's just too long. It's
Yeah,
just too long. Yeah.
I agree, man. I agree.
Yeah.
It's always a long sort of 3 or 4 months. So hopefully this will fill a void for not just us, but I'm sure there's a few punters out there who will hopefully be tuning in and they'll enjoy what we've got to say. But yeah, we did post something on social media a couple of days ago. If you haven't seen it already, go have a look on our page on Facebook or Instagram. Um, we posted our cult Warriors cult heroes of all time, being it's the 30th year anniversary. So John sort of he was like, oh, throw a team together. So we threw our teams together. We did just want to clarify, yeah, the difference between sort of like a cult hero and your goat teams as well. So, cult heroes obviously. Well, I thought it was more someone who, a guy who every time he gets the ball, the crowd cheers, but not maybe not exactly the most. A lot of the time, not the most talented players, but there's just something about them. They always sort of give it their all, and there's something about them that the crowd falls in love with them as opposed to as I said before, yeah, goats, your greatest of all times, which I would have thought the likes of Sean Johnson and Stacey Jones are in that field, but John, as we'll probably find out pretty soon, he felt differently. So, do you feel like you need to defend yourself at all on the goat versus cult hero yet, John? Or
Yeah, no. I've looked at, to be honest with you, bro. I do agree with you. I think, like the cult hero is that sort of beloved fan favorite sort of player, kind of player. Not always wasn't always the top of their game, but just they just had something. They had that personality about them that everyone just loved about them. Doesn't matter what they did, if they did something right or wrong, they just loved them. And what comes to mind, like the guys like Hydro Okasini, for example. You know,
definition?
Charlie Gubb. We've had Charlie on our show before. Great guy, and yeah, no, I definitely call him a fan favorite as well. So yeah, I do agree. And then there, also the goat, like yes, Sean Johnson, etc. And I did the reason why I put him there. I just thought he'd be. I thought he sort of fit. Sorry, I said fat. He sort of fit into both categories. That's why I did that. Is because I thought he fits into both. But everyone's got their own opinions. But look, I mean, I'll read it here. I just went into just Google and this is what comes up in the AI overview. A cult hero is beloved for personality, unique quirks, or memorable moments, often relatable to or eccentric, but not necessarily the best or most decorated player. So that's pretty much what you said. While a legend achieves iconic status through sustained greatness, major trophies, and deep historical significance, and making them essential to our club's story, which is why I thought, Stacey Jones could fit, and Sean Johnson could fit into both. That's why I had them there. But I do, like I said, overall, I do agree with what you're saying. Like there is a big difference between the two.
Whereas
Sorry.
a problem with the definition there is the major trophy stuff. So that means that any Warriors player could be considered a cult hero because there's been very few trophies. Although they're doing all right in the other grades, just not in first grade as such. Yeah.
Well,
In
let me
terms of
give you
my
another.
premiership.
Yeah. But let me give you another example. Kevin Campion. I would consider him someone as a goat. Like he was the man. You know, hard as one of the toughest guys around, but also a beloved player. A big fan favorite as well. So that's why I reckon he could fit into both categories. That's why I had him in my team, this sort of thing. So I thought there are some players that can actually fit into both categories. I mean, I don't know if you feel that same way, but that's what I think anyway.
Yeah, I mean Campion's probably more. a cult hero for the some of the on-field antics in my book. Like there's a
Shane
couple of
Webke.
very there's a couple of very vivid sort of memories of Campion and Beetham along, but Beetham probably goes more towards the the legend status, and he's sort of got that status in the club, but yeah, yeah, no, it was a lot of fun putting the list together though. It was. I was a bit rushed, and I admit,
Oh,
sort of since
excuses are
I've got
coming out.
no, well, there's just a couple of sections I'm sort of like, oh, maybe I would have done this, maybe I would have done that, but no, I'm pretty happy with my team, and
Okay, well,
I think there's some bow legends there.
all right. Okay, well, because the fact that you are happy with your team. Let's start with your team, and and I was thinking that we go through, you know, just go through the list and stuff. But can we just start with the atrocity of your number 14 pick? I think everyone is going to want to hear your your defense here because I don't know how the heck you pick Reece Walsh in your team as a Warriors cult hero. He wasn't even at the Warriors for 2 seasons.
Yeah, but he was amazing. He was every time he played, it was great. He was so. As soon as I remember that first game he played against the Storm, and I
Yeah.
just fell in love with him. And everything he did, he was a bit cheeky, but he had that flair. He wasn't the superstar he is today, and I think to call him a Broncos cult hero would be pretty wild because he's probably he will go down as probably. I mean that grand final, one of the I remember seeing, and I think there's a lot of people I've talked to who've watched a lot more league than I have, and have said the same. But the 2 seasons he was there, like he was very rocks and diamonds. But I think the one, I suppose the one downfall to him being in the team is that they were in Australia for all that time. So I think he only probably played 1 or 2 games at Mount Smart. I remember I went to the West Tigers game,
Yeah.
the return to Mount Smart, and he was a late out. I remember Harris Tavita
Yeah.
was playing fullback that day. So he probably only played at Mount Smart 2 or 3 times. So that's probably the only problem for me.
Well, there you go. You just
And
answered it right there.
and that why he may not be called a Warriors cult hero because he hadn't spent too much time at Mount Smart. Um, I just thought he's a fun little addition. It's something different, and to have him coming off the bench at number 14, gosh, you could do worse, couldn't you?
Yeah, no, I still don't agree with you, mate. I think you just shot yourself in the foot by saying that stuff about Smart. Because I actually wasn't going to bring that up because I actually didn't think about it. But now that you bring it up, I think that's a perfect example of
Well, no,
why.
but it's not. It's not Mount Smart cult heroes. It's Warriors
Yeah,
cult heroes.
but the thing
And it was
is,
at a time when he came into the team. At a time when obviously they were stuck in Australia, were struggling to get players to come. The Broncos very generously sort of loaned him to us for a couple of years, and we got some good use out of him. I think everything that he's learnt on the footy field, he learnt from being part of the Warriors,
he
and
wasn't.
now he's going to go on to be one of the all time
Nah,
greats
he wasn't
in the
loaned,
league.
and he wasn't loaned. But anyway, what I was trying to get at is that is rubbish defense because you can't. I reckon to be a cult hero at the Warriors, you would have had to have at least played at least 3 seasons at the Warriors. Come on,
Not
how can you
necessarily.
be a cult hero for under 3 seasons playing? And Reece Walsh didn't even, like you said, did he even play at Mount? Did he even play at Mount Smart? How could you say he's a cult hero when he didn't even play at our home ground? I can't remember.
He was a rock in the team at a pretty dark time as well.
It was a
He
dark
was a,
time.
he
I'll
was a
give that.
shining light in a dark time. For that, I'm shouting out Reece Walsh, my boy, Warriors cult hero. He should be in the starting team to be honest,
Oh,
but
come on, that's rubbish. You're gonna put,
I couldn't take that away from Wade McKinnon's 2007
yeah,
season.
I was gonna say, are you gonna put him ahead of Wade McKinnon
No way.
or Lance O'Hire, even though Lance O'Hire could probably play six
Oh
as
man,
well.
Lance is like my all-time favorite Warriors player of all time.
Yeah,
So
Brent Webb, would you put him ahead of Brent Webb as well as a cult hero?
oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, come on, bro, come on, are you
Yeah.
serious?
I mean, nah, Brent Webb's not a cult hero. Like he
No,
was a
but would
good
you?
player. He was a
No,
good
but would you?
player, but he
Would you
didn't
put
have
Reece
that
Walsh
sort
ahead
of
of him though in that
as a
list?
cult. Well, I have. Yes,
Yes.
obviously I
Oh,
have.
come on, bro.
As a cult
Um,
hero.
okay. Do you think?
Not in the greatest Warriors team of all time, probably
Yep.
not,
Yep.
because he wasn't there for long enough. I think for a
Yep.
cult hero, he left his mark on the team. He left his mark on my heart.
Okay. All right. All right. Do you think anyone will agree with you that Reece Walsh, is a Warriors cult hero? Do you?
Um, Yeah, I'm sure there's some people out there. Yep.
Okay, let's go to the comments. Let's go to some comments. Let's go to some comments here because I've seen some. Have you seen some as well?
Yeah, I had a look of a few of them. Not
Okay.
since
Oh,
yesterday.
here's one. Here's a perfect one. I don't know who this person is. JC Biles on Instagram. He put or she put. I'm not sure who it is. Are we going to talk about how Reece Walsh is even mentioned? Come on, that just sums it up right there. That just sums it up right there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if there's any comments in my defence. But you know, how does Reece Walsh make cult heroes? No,
There we go. There we go. See, how does Reece Walsh make cult hero status? See?
No,
Oh,
Reece
well,
Walsh.
and one of the responses to that comment was he doesn't. He doesn't.
Oh, like I'm sure there's someone out there who would. Um, but I know, as I said before, like I'm happy to uh, die on this hill, and defend my boy Reece Walsh as one of the great Warriors cult heroes.
All right, all right. Well, I reckon we should put a poll out and see if anyone agrees and see what the percentage comes out. But all right, mate. At the end of the day, it is your choice for your team, for
Yeah,
your
exactly.
cult heroes. But I just think you're blatantly wrong. Anyway, let's go into your team, mate. Do you want to take us through your team?
Sure thing. So I was going to get the list up here.
Yeah,
Here we go.
yeah.
So at the back, I've got Wade McKinnon, obviously
Nice.
just ahead of Reece Walsh. On the wings, I've got Sean Hoppe and
Yep.
Manu Vetave.
Fair
I
enough.
think Manu's probably one of those rare characters who would be in a GOAT team and in a cult hero team because
Yes, yes.
although he has the stats to sort of back him up, he still had that kind of inconsistency, kept you on the edge. Yeah, I mean, the beat, the nickname the Beast. I remember a game, watching a game, and I think it was against the Canberra Raiders, probably in 2014 maybe, and the Raiders, the Beast scored a hat trick in that game, and there was this Mount Smart faithful in front of me just going, feed the Beast, and it was moments like that you're like, that's a cult hero right there, every time we touched the ball, the Mount Smart faithful would woo woo, there'd be all sorts of noises going on. So yeah, those two got my wings. And yeah, Hoppy was more of sort of like I was trying to get someone from the early days. He's a player who I don't remember watching a heap, but I just have heard a lot. I feel like when the Warriors, that sort of early Warriors team comes up, he's a name that comes out a lot. So in my centres, I got Conrad Hurrell and Clinton Torpey. So
Nice.
Hurrell was just the heroic cane.
Yeah.
I think Andrew Voss once incorrectly called him, and it was one of the great commentary sort of stuff ups, which I thought was so good. The heroic cane. He obviously had his little off-field indiscretion to sort of add to his cult hero status. I think in the car with short and straight staff from memory.
Yeah, and
Um,
he used to blow the kiss as well whenever he scored a
Yeah,
try. Yeah, that
yeah.
sort of thing.
And
Yeah.
I remember there was like a Wendy's ad as well. I don't know if you remember there was a Wendy's ad. They were eating the broshi buns, and they were trying to like figure out how to pronounce broshi, and he was sort of giggling away in the corner of that. I have a very vivid memory of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, he gets there, and then Clinton Torpey was. I mean, he's probably another one of these ones that could actually be in a great small time team, but he had that cult hero status. Every time he touched the ball, the crowd would just go nuts, and he'd sort of he always had some good try celebrations as well from memory.
Yep. Agree. Agree.
So yeah, very happy with those centres. Halves I've got 5'8", got my boy Lance Hire. As I said before, he's one of my favourite Warriors of all time. To be honest, I just always had a real soft spot for him. Who can forget when he put Seven Receiver on his ass in that game again? I think it was when Seven Receiver was playing for the Panthers, and he just popped out of nowhere and jumped up and absolutely floored him. So I just
Was a great player. He was a great player.
Lance had to be there in my team somewhere. So and like the utility factor as well. He was always just like, you could always rely on him. He'd come in and play sort of hooker in the halves or fullback and always do a job for you. And then I had Ravelli at 7. I was struggling there. I think, and I mean you've obviously gone down the safe route in the halves.
No, no.
We might talk about that. We'll probably talk about that when you read your team out. But
Right.
I was struggling a little bit. But I thought Ravelli was sort of one of those battlers, and because I think a battler is sometimes what you sort of associate with the cult hero. So I kind of went with
Yeah.
Ravelli
Fair enough.
for that fact. I think you'd agree with me in saying that the front rowers were sort of the easiest, but also the hardest to pick because
Because so
there's
many.
so many. Yeah,
Yeah, so many.
even once I did my team, I realised I left, one or two players out, which I was like, oh, I probably should have got them in, but I don't know who I would have took them out for. So, I had took Mark Tukey and Hideo Rossini as my props. Yeah, I mean, both of those guys, when you think cult hero, you think every time they touch the ball, I can just still hear the ringing of the crowd kind of, you know, oohing and ahhing as they come off the back fence with some big hit ups. Okaseni obviously had the hair as well, the big mullet. So he was an OG warrior, but he's my captain of my team. I think I haven't put it on the sheet, but I think as far
All
as
right.
a cult hero goes, he defines it for me. And then Tuki was just that round barrel. I used to play footy with a guy called, and we used to call him Barrel, and he was sort of similar build to Tuki and kind of reminded me a little bit of him. Just every time he got the ball, would sort of just hit it up, never afraid of anything. So love Mark Tuki, and the
Nice.
goatee as well just adds to it all.
Yep. Before you get into the next one, I can't wait for this. I can't wait for you to explain this one. Your hooker. I can't wait. Let's go. Let's go.
And I got Kevin Campion playing hooker. I struggled with the hooker, and I thought, hey, Campion's all good. In my head, I thought he had played. I'd played more hooker than he had. I think he's only played 5 games at hooker. Um, I think I was sort of confusing him a little bit with him and Beetham, and I thought they kind of rotated around a little bit, but it was more than playing lock as opposed to hooker. But like you were trying to give me shit for the other day, and I was like, "There's actually no one I think that would go there." Like, I mean, the guy you've got is a good player, but I wouldn't call him a cult hero or anything. I think Kemp,
Isaac Luke, Sidero, Robbie Mears. I don't know someone. But I mean, yeah.
no,
I
I think
mean,
looks like not a Warriors cult hero though, is he? Like, I mean, how many years did he play for the Warriors? And like, didn't bring much to the
oh,
he didn't bring
well,
much to the Warriors. He was on the
my one's perfect for cult hero status. But we'll wait for my list. Yeah.
No, it's not. Oh, we'll talk about it later. But I mean, you can't deny that he's a cult hero, and he has played hooker in his past. He's played hooker in Origin, John. So like, I'm not quite sure like
He's not known for it though. Come on.
why you're so
But
fired up
yeah.
about it. Hey, you got to
Yeah.
make these. It comes back to what I was saying before. These middle forwards. There's so much depth there that this was my way of squeezing an extra one in there because I wouldn't have taken the guy I've got playing 13. I wouldn't have taken out some of the middles on my bench as well. But I mean, no one's going to deny the fact that Campion he's got that cult hero status. You've got so many visions of him with blood pissing out of his face, and he's trying to play on and all that. He really wore his heart in his sleeve. Yep, Campion's my 9. In the second row, I've got Lau Titi. I don't think too many people would argue with that. Everyone still remembers some of that magic that he did, the passes that pass over the head, which I think was actually to my other second rower in Palacina. Obviously, Palacina was probably more of a middle, but once again, there was a lot of middles there. I feel like Palacina could bring some heat. He had some good ball skills, and you've got that sound of Jason Costigan saying Palacina, like running through your head.
The Rhino. But
Like get
yeah,
on YouTube and look at his highlights. Say like he was the original sort of running it
those
from the back fence.
those legs, right?
Yeah,
Didn't he,
yeah.
wasn't he more of a front rower rather than a middle forward?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it was more of like
Yeah.
more of a front rower
Yeah.
middle than a second rower. But I've got him in the second rower. I
Yeah.
feel like he could do the job, and it's a way for me to sneak another.
He had a bit of speed as well. I mean, I've seen a video of him where he burst through a few tackles. I can't remember who the opposition was, but then went through down the left flank and then passed it to Clinton Tupu, who finished the job off. Like
Yeah,
he had a bit of pace on him. So yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I'm happy to put him in there, and like he had mean ball skills as well. He was throwing the ball. So that was obviously those sort of glory days in the early mid 2000s where um, Warriors footy they played that expansive branch of footy, and he was a big part of that. And then at 13, I've got Michael Luck, just the workhorse. One of the I talk about Campion sort of constantly having that blood pissing from his head. I feel like Michael Luck was similar. Like he was always sort of hurting himself and getting boots here and there, but he'd just play through it. And he had that pretty distinct look. He was just that
Yeah.
hard, one of those hard Aussies that have brought a lot to the club over the years. Like we talked about Campion before, obviously in the team at the moment, I've got the likes of Barnett, another one on my bench I'll talk about soon. But yeah, no, I thought Michael Luck had to be there, and I think you see the number 13 Warriors jersey, and I feel like there was a time where that jersey was very sort of anonymous with Michael Luck.
Yeah, he's to be honest with you, I didn't have him in my side, but he's one of the players I thought maybe I should have had him there because he does fit the cult hero
Yeah,
status, and I thought he was an amazing player as well, but he was just a fan favorite. So the more I think about it, the more I think, oh man, maybe I should have had him in my side as well because
yeah.
he does fit that category perfectly. Yeah.
He's just got that. It's that workhorse sort of ethic. Like, I don't think he played Origin at all. Obviously, never played for the Kangaroos or anything. So it was never kind of even considered for that sort of thing. But, he was a selection every week.
Yeah, he's a good player.
And
Yeah.
he was one of those tough Aussies that the faithful, the Warriors faithful and the Mount Smart faithful just absolutely loved.
Yeah, agree.
At 14, I've got my boy Reece Walsh, and I'm not going to talk about it anymore.
Nah.
He
Cool.
had a very memorable stint, a couple of years at the Warriors. I was very sad to see him go. I think maybe it was those eyes, those damn eyes that have taken over me and my heart, and he's worked his way into the team.
So it wasn't the nail polish or the
Yeah.
mascara? No,
Oh,
no.
yeah, well, some of the eyes, man, they're beautiful. You can't look away. 15 got Charlie Gubb. Yeah, I think he's one of those ones who's just yeah, an absolute. I think even the name, something about the name Charlie Gubb. It's just sort of just it suits a cult hero a lot. I know that when he played for the Warriors, when he was at Mount Smart, he'd stand up from the bench, and the crowd behind him would pick up. And as you said before, we had him on the podcast a couple of years ago. Super nice guy.
Yeah.
We had a really good chat about his time at the Warriors. It sounded like it didn't really sort of finish the way that he intended, but I know that as we sort of said to him, the fans still sort of think very highly of him, and I think he still gets a lot of people say that sort of thing. So had to have him in there. And then I've got Richard Villasanti. He's another one of those Aussies. He had the big long, the sort of longish hair that sort of stood out. He was an absolute unit, and kind of just I feel like another one of these Aussie hard men that
Mongrel way. Bit
the
of a
Warriors
mongrel.
felt. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just
You know,
like
do you
that.
know, do you know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of, I mean, he wasn't probably as great as a player as this person, but Willie Mason. They've got some similarities in terms of that mongrel. Can you see it? Can you see it?
Yeah,
So
kind
they,
of always sort of in the face as well. They've both got
yeah,
quite sort of hardened, sort of scary face, both massive builds. Yeah, I can definitely see that.
yeah,
Yeah, I thought Villa the Gorilla. I thought and he had a nickname and everything. Villa the Gorilla. I mentioned sort of Jason Costigan before, but I can picture him saying Villa the Gorilla. I'm Villa the Gorilla. God, I've got to work on my Costa impression. And then to finish it off, I had Todd Lowry, because he was just such a battler, and I feel like every second time he got the ball, he dropped it. But there was something about Todd Lowry. I always had a little soft spot for him.
fair enough, mate.
So I thought, I'll give him a spot on my bench, as just thanks for the memories, Todd. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough, mate. Fair enough. We'll give you that one. But yeah, in terms of my rating out of 10, mate, I'd give that a 6.5. Your side.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, actually, I'll push it to a 7 because I do agree with a lot of like for example, Wade McKinnon, Sean Hoppy, yes, Conrad, Clinton Tupi, one of those players that could be fit in both, like you said. Same with Manu. Agree, totally agree. Hahaya, yes. Ravelli, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have had him in my list, but Tuki, yes. Hydro, yes. Kevin Campion, yes, because I've got him on my side. Lawatiti, yes. Paliasina, Michael Luck. Actually, maybe I'm giving you a hard time, giving you maybe a lower rating than I should
I've
have.
lost that 3 points and put in Reece Walsh in there.
Yeah. I think that's what does it for me is the Reece Walsh. Charlie Gubb, yes. And Belasanti, yes, and Lowry, yes, I'll give you. Oh, so maybe actually, you know what? I'll be a bit more nice and give you 8 out of 10. Push it up to 8 out of 10.
Okay.
8 out of 10. But Reece Walsh, you could have had a bit. It could have been a better rating if you just not had put Reece Walsh in there because again,
John,
superstar of the game. Not denying it, but he
I'm
is
not
not a
doing it for
cult
you,
hero.
John. I'm doing it for me. This is
Yep.
this is my team.
Yep.
The Warriors players that are close to my heart.
Yep, fair enough, mate. Well, look, I'll quickly go through mine quickly because we've got some similarities in our sides. So I've got Lance Ohio as well. Um, Lance, he was always destined to do big things. Like I remember when I was studying way back many years ago in Hamilton, when I was starting to become, studying in media and comms and stuff. And I was in the rugby league scene around there, and I was I had heard I had never met the guy, but I heard about him because he was from Huntley. So he was in that Waikato sort of scene, and I heard a lot of things about him, saying like this guy's the next biggest star, and he ended up being a big star. He was awesome, like he was great. I thought, and like you said before, the utility factor that he could play hooker, he could play 5'8", halfback, he could play fullback, he could do it, and he was good at it. He just had just immense skills, and yeah, no, I always have memories of him playing for the Kiwis as well in that World Cup final in 2008. That was he had a brilliant game. He had an amazing game. So yeah, so no, Lions are higher for me at fullback. I had Francis Malley. Um, for me, there were a couple of wingers I was thinking that they could probably fit in there as well. Francis Malley, and I also but I remember Francis Malley against the Bulldogs. There was a game where we were like, I think we
Good
scored like three
tries.
tries in 5 minutes or something,
Four,
and
I
he's
think.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and Stacey Jones missed the easy conversion to win the game, and it was a draw. It was
Oh no,
against
that one. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
Then there was I think it was at in Wellington. It was played here in Wellington, so
Yeah, yeah, I was
yeah,
thinking of the game where because he scored 4 tries in the
yep,
finals game as well, didn't he? Against the
yeah, I think
Bulldogs.
so.
Right?
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah, I can't remember, but that game stands out for me.
And the
So I just
name
put
Francis Smelly because it was like smelly. It always made me laugh as well.
I
So
just and then or because I was thinking him or Farfeli, Henry Farfeli, but yeah, Conrad Horrell for the same reasons that we mentioned before. I don't have to go into it because you just mentioned it before. I had Jerome Rapati as my other centre. I know Jerome. I knew him many years ago, interviewing him a few times for stories and stuff, and just a great guy. But I thought he was a brilliant player, not just for the Warriors, for the Kiwis as well. He had a big game against the Aussies in the 2008 World Cup as well. So yeah, no, Jerome Rapati for me fits into that cult hero because everyone loved him. Everyone loved Jerome Rapati. Had a had the name behind him as well, Rapati. Bit of a legacy name at the Warriors as well. Um, had Manu as well as my other winger. Okay, here's the two that you were questioning, which Rizzy Michael for some reason trying to throw some
smack
shade. Yeah, tried to throw some shade at me on social media about these two. But Sean Johnson, again, for me, and Stacey Jones, as I mentioned at the start of this podcast, for me, both fit the categories of GOAT and cult hero.
a public figure who isn't a mainstream superstar
Okay.
is what that's what cult hero is.
Isn't a main okay. But you were talking about before, like Clinton Tupi, you mentioned it, and Kevin Campion, yeah,
But they're like not like the two greatest players that have played for the club ever. Like Tupi might make my top team of all time, maybe. Um, Kempion maybe probably wouldn't. Like
But okay, is the little general and is SJ, are they two beloved players of the club? Like people just love them. Yes or no?
yeah, but also like you got to remember that um, they both kind of left and came back, and there's still
Yes,
a
they came
few
back.
question marks there.
We forgive. We
Oh yeah, I
forgive.
mean, there's no doubting that they're beloved and that they're both great players. superstars of the
Yeah.
club, the two most well-known players in the club's history.
Imagine, imagine if you asked Sean Johnson himself, asked him, so you said, "Hey, mate, do you consider yourself a goat, or do you consider yourself a cult hero, or both?" Wonder
Or
what
can
he
you
would
do
say.
both? Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
what would he say?
that's the question, and it's like I don't think you can be a goat and a cult hero. I think there has to be, like some sort of a line drawn in the sand somewhere.
You know what would be funny is actually texting this to Brooke Rusco. Brooke asking him what he
Oh yeah,
thinks. Got his number, so I could probably text him about it. So uh, maybe. But
if they talk
yeah,
about it on play on.
I don't think they'll do that. But yeah, I don't think they'll do that. But yeah, anyway, yeah. So no, that I had Sean Johnson in there as because I honestly believe that he fits into that category of being one of the greatest players that the Warriors have ever produced because he started at the Warriors and then also a cult hero. He's a beloved figure. So, but yeah, it's a hard one. But I just think he's one of those rare players that can fit into those categories. Same with Stacey Jones. But because I was thinking even you've got the guys like James Maloney that played there as well. But I wouldn't. Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
don't think.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think that maybe I should have put Maloney in. I was thinking that because he was someone who he's probably not going to be in the grades full time, but he was epic and did some amazing things for the club, and he was loved by the club,
yeah,
by the
and
fans. And then yeah, unfortunately we weren't able to hold on to him. But
yeah, and you
you
got
know,
Michael Witt as well. Michael Witt could probably fit in somewhere, sort of thing.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah. But anyway, I'll move on. My front rowers are exactly the same as yours. Tukes, Mark Tukey, and Hotro Okasini. Yep. So I had them. I had PJ Marsh as my cult hero hooker because I just think people love PJ Marsh. I remember him playing back in the days, and he was an amazing player, but also he made the Queensland team from the Warriors, um, state of origin team. So I just think he's one of those Australians that we love. Like another Australian, sorry, that I think that the club fans loved was Lillyman. Jacob Lillyman. I thought he was another one. I mean, he could probably be in there as well. But for me, similarities in terms of an Australian, but we all loved him. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it was. He didn't cross my mind for my team, eh? And like, yeah, there's no disrespect to him. I think yeah, he was a good player and all that. I don't know if I would have called him a cult hero as such, but yeah, I mean, yeah,
yep.
I'll give him
No, fair
10.
enough.
I'll
Fair
give him
enough.
10.
Yep. Also, Lauatiti had mine in my second row, along with Mannering. That was a hard one because maybe now thinking about it, I mean, despite the fact that I love Mannering, I think most people do. I think Michael Luck probably would have been a better fit.
I
Um,
mean, you've got the three most well-known Warriors players of all time in your cult heroes team, John. So I think we need to figure out, we need
yeah,
to draw this line in the sand somewhere. Like
yeah,
Mannering, absolutely love Mannering, adore
yeah.
Mannering.
Well,
He's
I'm
in my
just
top, my top three of all time, probably top two Warriors of all time. Um, but
But I'm just admitting it to you, saying that maybe I should have had him not there and had Michael Luck in there. But anyway, yeah. So I had Mannering in there, but Kevin Campion as well as my lock. I loved Kevin Campion. There were so many players, honestly, that I had on my mind that could fit in this team, but you only got 17 slots. So the bench I had 14, which I thought was a must, is Kevin Lock.
be Reece Walsh.
No. Kevin Lock.
I was at the game in Christchurch when he beat himself around the post against the Roosters to score the match-winning try on full time. I've got all the respect for Kevin Lock in the world.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Kevin.
I'm not gonna have a go at you for that selection at all. Love Kevin Lock.
I'm sure I think people have, in the comments have even questioned whether he should have been starting fullback. So yeah, but it's hard because you said you got Wade McKinnon, you got Lance Ohio, so it's hard. But any of those
For me,
two,
McKinnon just had to be there and there because of that '07 season. I think it was where he was just everything he touched turned to gold.
yeah,
It was just a beautiful thing to watch McKinnon. But yeah, Kevin Lock. Yeah, definitely love that selection.
yep, exactly. Nah. And Charlie Gubb as well. As you explained, just a fan favorite. Everyone loved him. Great player as well. He's a great guy. As we've mentioned many times before, he's been on the show before, and he's just a great guy as well. Paliasina, the Rhino. They got the iconic run that he did. From all the way when the kickoff, he just had it in him, and he just broke the line so many times. It was awesome. He was awesome. Yep. And this guy I couldn't leave out of my team because not just because I just think because you may not think he actually is worthy of cult hero status. You might think he's a goat, but I think he's both. But also I've got a lot of respect for the guys. Ruben Wiki, yeah,
Yeah,
amazing
I'm
player.
just
I know
trying
he
to
didn't
figure
start
out
out
how
at
I
the.
feel
I know he
about
didn't. Yeah, I mean I know because I know that he didn't start out at the club either. He was at the Raiders. He was at the Raiders for a while, for quite a long time, and so I totally understand, why people might think that might be is he really worthy of a cult hero status at the Warriors? But I think that he was kind of like Fisher Harris, got injected into the side and was given like captaincy status, he was just senior status straight away, kind of like Fisher Harris is doing in the team these days. So I think for me, but also I just have a lot of respect for Ruben Wiki. I actually interviewed him many times back in the days as a journalist when I was a young journalist interviewed him. I've got a lot of stories. I could probably show them one day if I can find my, sort of journals with all my articles in them. But he was an amazing guy. I remember one time when um, he embarrassed me at a media session at the Warriors. So I was supposed to be going to Chile to go visit my father, who lives in Chile, and he he knew about it because I told him. We were just talking one day, and I told him. But then something happened where I had to delay my trip by another 2 weeks. So within that 2 weeks, I still stayed at work, and I decided to go into one of the Warriors media sessions. And they at the time, I don't know because I haven't been doing any Warriors media for a while. I hadn't. They used to. I don't know whether they do it still in the gym, but they did the media sessions in the gym. And I remember getting there and going there, and was there with a bunch of journalists standing there waiting for the coach to come up and everything. And then Ruben Wiki was in the gym with a bunch of players, and he yells out and he screams out, "Hey, John! I thought you were going to South America. What are you doing here, bro?" He yells that out, and everyone just looked at me, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know what to say because I didn't know what to say. I still kind of froze because they've got like about 10 journalists there, TVNZ. They've all got the cameras and stuff and everything, and I'm just standing there. And then I was because he was quite a distant away. He was quite a distant away, and I was just going, what was I supposed to do? Oh, sorry, Rubes. Yeah, yeah, no, no, no. Next in a couple of weeks, bro. I didn't know what to
missed you, bro.
do.
I missed you, bro.
Yeah, yeah, I remember it. I remember it very clearly that moment because it's just kind of made me feel special, that he pulled me out and not the other journalists. Because the
Yeah,
other
for
journalists,
sure.
I was working for a smaller paper at the time, and the others, were like the Herald and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, he called me out, so I was like, kind of felt, even though I was like, oh yeah, yeah, but deep down inside, I was like, yeah, that's right. He called me out. He called me out. He called me out. But yeah, nah. So that's why I've got a lot of respect for Ruben Wiki. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who can forget that hit up in the that finals game against the Roosters? The blackout game, and must have been 2007, 2008, maybe. And he knocked out who was it? The Roosters player.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I can't remember.
Yep.
I remember.
Like
Yep.
he just he
Yep.
had the look on his face. That's a cult hero moment there for sure.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely. Definitely. Well, that's my side. So now it's your. There's the moment of truth. What do I get out of 10 for this?
Now, let me have a look. I'm all for Melly. Yeah, I mean Ropati. I'm not sure about cult hero, but can't deny the
Oh.
fact that
Ooh.
he'd be potentially a goat. So there's some respect there. Manu, I've got my questions about Stacey Jones, the two SJs. I'll give you your four packs looking alright. Your Tokes, PJ Marsh, Cassini, Lautiti, Mannering, yeah, as I said
Mm,
before, not sure. Campion,
mm.
yes, Lock, Charlie Garb, what did you give me? 8. I've probably got a problem with just those three guys, but they're all good players, so I'll
Yeah.
go 7.5 out of 10.
Oh, come on, mate. Sorry, how am I going to get a lower score when you've got Reece Walsh on your side? Come on.
The rest of my side's so good, and I know deep down that now that I've talked to you about it, you're starting to come around to the
No,
response.
no, 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 I have not. I have not. I have not. And I just still, I think we need to ask the question. You can get a poll up there on social media, and we'll see what everyone has to say. So, but look, those are our cult hero lists, and I think they're pretty decent. I know that everyone's going to have different opinions. Everyone's got more, players that are more closer to their hearts than others as well and stuff. So I've heard some people come saying like, "Where's Isaac Luke? Where's who else have they said? they've mentioned a bunch of names in there. Where's this person? Where's this person?
Yeah, I think the one thing that if I was to have my time again, I might put Jazz and a hooker in front of
Yes,
Kenyon.
here's another one. Here's another one that
Yeah,
people have mentioned
because
as well. Yeah,
he's a genuine. He was a bit of a battler, but he the faithful loved him. You know
yeah.
how upset we all were when he announced he was leaving last year and
Well,
stuff. So
he
he's
is.
someone who probably deserves to be in there.
You're right. He does. But you know what? The truth is, I just didn't even think about him. I don't know
No,
why.
neither.
Yeah, I didn't even think
I
about him at
saw
the
in the
time. But
comments. I was like, oh yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
when he came up in the comments and social media, I was just like, oh, how did I not think about Jazz? Because he
Yeah.
does fit that category. So anyway, yeah, that's us. That's us, mate.
Next time we do it.
Yeah. All right. So look, before we go, how about we talk about one more thing that I know that's you're very annoyed about it. The Golden Boot, mate. You want to take us through that?
Yeah, so just announced today that Harry Grant has been given the Golden
Ow.
Boot over Dylan Brown. I mean, it's just. I mean, Dylan Brown was just so good in that whole series. His stats are amazing. I think he scored about 4 tries, had like 6 or 7 try assists, was kicking well. He was running for about over 100 meters a game. I didn't watch too much of the Ashes, but from what I understand, Harry Grant had a pretty ordinary series. Like Australia were never going to lose that. They never really,
Yeah.
every game was pretty much a blowout. Um, and he didn't even get man of the series. Cameron Munster got man of the series. So if you're going to give it to a player from that team and that's the only international games they've played, you think that you give it to the player who was given player of the series. But it's just the NRL being the NRL again, and any chance they have to bring a Kiwi down or a Warriors player down. Obviously, Dylan Brown's not a Warriors player, but I just feel a bit like that. Like I've seen a lot of commentary online just from Aussies, even and they're just sort of like, there's no way that Harry Grant should have got this. This is just stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
just wanted to say
Yeah.
my 2 cents there and just like, come on, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Exactly. No.
How?
Yeah. I mean, I'll read a quote from Link, who runs the podcast The Knighted. Had a little couple of conversations, not about this, but in the past we've just had some little talks and little messages to each other. But he said, "I refuse to believe anyone in the world possibly thought Harry Grant's representative form was anywhere near the levels of Dylan Brown's. Who do we speak with to report this robbery?" Fair, fair call, fair call,
Oh, he'll
fair
be
call.
excited about Dylan Brown coming to the Knights as well, won't he? So
Yeah,
he's got a vested interest there. But yeah, no, I'm with you there. It's great. The robbery.
yeah.
I mean, it's East J and Ponga 2023 Dally M's all over again, isn't it? Like it
Don't know
seemed
how that happened. Yeah,
pretty clear cut, and then they just sort of find a way. And I mean, they just. I haven't read too much of the reasoning. I don't want to. I'm just like, you do you. You just, you've got your agenda and you're fulfilling it by giving it to Harry Grant.
yeah. Nah, fair enough. Well, look, we'll leave it at that, mate. We'll leave it at that. We've done our special edition here, and it was actually quite fun. It was actually quite fun. I was actually looking forward to this. I was really looking forward to the roasting of Reece Walsh. But you're not budging, are you? You're not budging. You're standing firm on Reece Walsh. So
Nah, and Reece
yeah,
Walsh, I live, love, and live, life, love. What's the quote? Live, laugh, love. And Reece
yeah.
Walsh, I live, laugh, love. Live life and laugh. I don't know.
All right. Well,
I love you, Reece
we'll,
Walsh.
yeah, maybe we'll clip this and we'll tag him and see what see if he comes back. But anyway, everyone, thanks a lot for tuning in again for the special edition of the Couch Warriors on our all-time Warriors cult heroes list. We'll probably come back and do some more episodes, right? And throughout the preseason and stuff like that. We don't know. These are sort of things that we just spontaneously do in the off season, right? Yeah.
Yeah, if anyone's got any ideas, things they want to hear, flick us a message or, comment on one of our posts about it. Just say, hey, you should do a podcast about this, do an episode about this. Because,
Yeah.
we're always keen to have a chat. It won't be like a weekly thing. It'll just pop up when a few bonus episodes when you're lucky. So,
Sweet as. Good night, everyone, and yeah, tune in for our next one and when that happens. I don't know when it's going to happen, but when it happens. But if you're missing league, like Richard said, send us some topics and stuff, and we'll get onto it. Good night, everyone.
choo choo, we've got the fan.